I think I want to challenge every one of you to come in with a record of accomplishment and contribution to the war effort that beats mine. Now just keep that in mind as I go along here. I got in through the what they call the Enlisted Reserve Corps at St. Thomas College back in 1943. They were looking for guys, actually. That's probably why I got through that course. My birthday was the 15th of May, and I was called into the cadet program on the 18th. Went to Shepherd Field, Texas. Nice and warm there, you know, in June. I think it was about 110 on the parade grounds. And of course, we learned all about parading and marching and miscellaneous other stuff that we never used later on. From there, we went to Oklahoma Baptist University, which was called a college training detachment. It actually was a kind of a liberal arts course, a repeat of what I'd had at St. Thomas about a year before. But of course, the taxpayers paid for this, and of course, I'm sure that the colleges around Oklahoma, Texas, Arizona, and so forth really liked the spiff that they got on that. I did get 8 hours, I believe, or 8 hours and a half in a Piper Cup. From there, I went to San Antonio, which was strictly classification, and then to Ellington Field, which was pre-Bombardier, who was chosen as a Bombardier at San Antonio. From Ellington, at the pre-flight deal, went on to Big Spring, Texas, and finished the Bombardier's course on the 10th of June, 6 days after D-Day. And then on to Rapid City, where we met as a crew on a B-17, naturally. I think all you guys know I was on a B-17. Al, you know, remember that, Al? I gotta make sure Al remembers that, you know. At his age, he gets a little bit, you know. Then we went to Lincoln, Nebraska. We picked up a brand new B-17. We even had to swing the compass, and of course, you'd never heard before what the hell that was. But you get out on a marked area, you know, and you put the plane in different positions, and you read the compass. Very, very enlightening. Then on to Europe, flew over, landed at Manchester, weathered in for about 3-4 days, then on to Goose Bay, Labrador, same story, and then on to Iceland. And by God, you know, the weather at Goose Bay and at Manchester wasn't anywhere near as bad as Iceland. And they had us bombers and fighters all together in a big theater, raining like mad. And if you walked outside and stepped off a little narrow planks that you walked on, you sunk in up to your ankles in mud. And it was misting and raining. And we said, I told somebody, you know, some of the people there, oh, what the hell, we don't fly in this kind of weather. What are you on? Bombers. You're flying. So that took care of that.
What time of the year was this?
This was in October, or it was September. I got to the base in October. So anyway, that was kind of an interesting thing. The thing I remember more, all this other stuff, you know, is kind of, you've all went through it. But I wonder how many of you guys had breakfast at Iceland. And of course, yep, there's one. Well, I tell you, you had the same experience. You had these coffee mugs, you know, and there was evidently coffee in there. And when you added cream, it turned a bright green, just like the stuff my mother used to have when she dyed clothes, you know. Boy, what a deal! Anyway, the tower informed the pilot that now when you take off of this particular runway, as soon as you lift off the ground, slow curve to the right because there is a mountain right ahead of you. So that was a real good indoctrination. You know, about the same doggone thing happened when we got over to Prestwick, Scotland. It was fogged in, and we knew the runway was there, but we couldn't see it. But they did shoot up flares from the end of the runway. So the pilot said, you know, you pilots, I don't think any of the pilots had any training on bad weather flying. So this was on-the-job training. And you flew at the flare, you know, a little bit below it. And by God, we hit the runway on the first pass. Anyway, after 35 missions from October 44 to March 45, I came to the conclusion with all our training, and in my deal that I had prepared that I told Dick I didn't have, I had the Bombardier information file that I was going to review with you to show you how detailed the training was. My God, you know, not only was it the bomb sight, but it was the compasses, the machine guns, the compasses, did I say the oxygen equipment, everything dealing with the plane. We got a pretty doggone good course. Took a hell of a lot of time, and of course it cost the taxpayers a hell of a lot of money. Incidentally, I mention that every once in a while because I am a little bit frugal. Well, anyway, finished the tour. I was at Stone, England, ready to come back when President Roosevelt died, and there was kind of a sad situation around there at the time. Came back, spent some time on leave, went to Santa Ana, California, for pre-flight training as a pilot. I had signed up to take pilot training. I had to sign up in 1945. In about May of 45, I had to sign up to stay until June of 47. Real good. This is going to be a fine deal. Primary trainer, Stearman, advanced in AT-6, but that was at Sherman, Texas. And Aaron Field, Sherman, Texas, got 68 hours in the AT-6 when the war ended. So boy, I'm going to go right back to St. Thomas, see if I can come to some conclusion about how I could make a living without working. And didn't quite work out that way, but as the war had ended, of course, they cut the class to about the remaining 5 or 10%, and I wasn't one of them. I could tell you about what washed me out when I tried to land that AT-6 with an instructor pilot on the check ride. I caught a little prop wash, and I did everything wrong. Damn near scared the pants off the instructor, but I did land the doggone thing, and it was a hell of a good landing. But that didn't please the instructor. He said, I got 1,500 hours in this machine, and I wouldn't do what the hell you did. I offered to be his instructor. Anyway, here I thought I was going to be able to go home. Nope, you signed up to stay until June of 47, you're going to stay. So anyway, I became a supply officer. Now, any of you guys know, boy, nobody is more highly regarded than a supply officer, sure. Unless it might be the intelligence officer. Anyway, they sent me to Monroe, Louisiana. And there we shut down that base. Of course, the officers' club was all non-appropriated funds. The money that was not spent at the base went to Randolph Field, where they had a beautiful officers' club. So one of my duties, in addition to signing forms that some civilians prepared, and as Al mentioned in his pitch here a while back, that sometimes when he had to sign some of these forms, he didn't know what he was signing. I got news for you, Al, I did that same doggone thing. Anyway, my main duty was to make sure that they spend this money that we had at the officers' club. We had 1,600 officers when I got there, and we had about 100 when I left. And by golly, by some strange coincidence, there wasn't a dime left for Randolph Field. We had, at one point, we had 2 buffets running at the same time in Monroe, Louisiana. You know, they had good shrimp, right, from the Gulf, and all of the other things to go with it. We did have a buffet bar that ran most of the time, and 2 bands many days, especially over the weekend. So again, I mentioned, you know, about taxpayers' money, but I got news for you. I can spend it too, and we did pretty well on that. When the field closed, I went to California. Went to Williams Field, Arizona, where they had P-80s, brand new P-80s. Very interesting base. Very interesting base. Sold surplus equipment. In other words, we gave it away to the front feather merchants that bought these GI shoes that had been completely rebuilt at a considerable cost to the taxpayers. We sold them on bids, and I think we got 16 cents a pound. So a pair of GI shoes would cost about, I don't know, 45, 50 cents, and you bought them in the stores for $4 or $5. And somebody was doing real well on those things. Bought the same thing on these metal cots. we had, and foot lockers. We had to have the employees stack them about 5 feet high, and they sold it by lot. People couldn't come on the base and buy any of that stuff because I think there was a little shenanigans so that the feather merchants could make a buck at the taxpayers' expense. Then all of a sudden, a decree came out that if you're going to stay in the service, you have to sign up for 2 years to June of '49. And I don't know just when this was, but I think it was early November. And I said, what happens if you don't sign up? He says, you'll be out of here in 2 weeks. And I says, promise? And I got home took a plane from there to Oklahoma City to Chicago, and military planes, and then I ended up on the train, came home the day before Thanksgiving. Now, I should mention here that overall here, I was at, I don't know how many bases, I had that in my report that I don't have here. My average stay was just a little over 5 months. So all of these bases, you see, I was really making a contribution that is just absolutely indescribable. Indescribable. I have tried for years to find out how much my excessive training cost the taxpayers. Because when I got overseas, my 35 missions, 18 of them we never saw the ground.